Hello, universe. Welcome to Pickathon podcast episode 6. My name's Zale. I'm the host. I'm also the founder of the Pickathon Music Festival. And this is a show about trying to make, have some type of discovery, make something unique and special happen. We're just trying to bring something that is weird and you didn't know about, and do that every time. Today I have my musical guests, Sonny Ferris and Cam Spies. And they are the musical group WHIMZ, sometimes known. It's a collaboration of members that are in many other bands, and they created through this collaboration something I never really heard before. So I'm going to synth-doom pop. We were arguing whether this is synth-dream pop or synth-doom dream pop, and I think we argued together that it's probably synth-dream-doom pop. So I don't know if that's what you guys agree with, but anyways, we're going to talk to them in a second, but this idea of collaboration, creating something really special is really interesting to not just, people that get to experience it, but from the Pickathon Festival the festival perspective, collaboration is essential. And for some people, collaboration comes out of this idea that you've done it all and you're just kind of bored and you want to do something kind of special, and you have this idea and you're going to bring in and do this collaboration. And I think that's an amazing thing. So much art has been created through two or more incredible people creating something special through that kind of collaboration. Our collaboration has kind of been a bit more we just can't create this immersive wonderland known as Pickathon without people. And so it's kind of need. I think some collaborations come out of almost need to pull something off. We can't do this alone. And it's just way too big. This is a farm that's something crazy, 100 acres. And if you've never been, it's really hard to describe, but it's this immersive wonderland where there's kind of magic at every turn, and it's, sparkly things, and just kind of feels like, this is cool. But underneath that is a ton of people and so many stories. And so, I can't tell them all. But I thought what collaboration story would be kind of stand out here. And I know there's many, just one interesting one kind of started with me back in 2013. I had my kid in a Buckman Elementary here in Portland, and another father whose name was Clive Knights. He had a kid too, and we were sitting in the gym, and I kind of knew him, and I kind of knew he worked at the PSU Architecture School. We're just talking, and I was like, God, how wouldn't it be cool to have your students do something at Pickathon? He's like, yeah, that'd be kind of cool. And immediately we started thinking about that. And in 2000, it might have been 2012, because in 2013 we actually activated on that. And so Clive Knights and his, one of the other assistant professors at the time was Travis Bell at the School of Architecture at Portland State. And they got the students together, and we dreamed big, and we're like, oh, let's do all this stuff. And it's come on, Zale, we got a little bit of time. We just got some students. So we kind of scaled it down, and we built a bamboo portal. It was kind of, it was cool. It was cool, but it was the entrance between the camping, and it kind of didn't burn anyone out. And that collaboration, we're next year, well, let's do something more. We're ready. I think we can do something. So in 2014, they actually took it to the next level and then came up with this idea of diversion architecture, which sounds like a fancy thing, but it's really this idea of, hey, we're going to build something out of some materials, and then it's going to turn into something else. So it's not trash. Basically, it's we're diverting something. And in that year, 2014, they came up with this idea of building a stage and a whole kind of enclosure out of pallets. That's what we did. So we built this Treeline pallet stage, and it was super cool. It got picked up by architecture magazines and this kind of cool magazine blog called Inhabitat, and we made a little mini documentary. Got really excited about it. So we said, let's do it again. So in 2015, we're let's go bigger. Let's move it up the hill. Let's make it bigger space. Let's make it a proper major stage. And that's what we did. And so here comes the students, and they got, I think it was 435 concrete form tubes, 48 to 72 inches long, 20 inches in diameter. And they built this 20-foot tall, massive wall, massive tall thing. And it was super rad. We had so many great bands, X-Hex, Joseph, just Lots of amazing bands that year played on this stage. What was cool about that is they entered it into the AIA Awards, which is like the big architecture awards for, architects in Portland. And they won the grand jury. And we're like, whoa, they were blown away. This is the first time students had won it. It's the first time the PSU had won it. And, it was cool. And so like now it started snowballing a little more. And I was like, okay, you guys, you guys still in 2016? Yes, there's, this is feeling sustainable, like a little bit more. And so that year they took 1,280 dimensional lumber and they made these kind of elaborate fans that were like, had this kind of fractal pattern, and which way you looked at it, it was really wild. And I think some of those, I remember Kevin Morby, a lot of really famous stuff, Daniel Norgan, incredible things happening that year. And that turned into 2017. And that year they took it up yet another notch. They took 1,000 trusses, or about 690, I think is what they used. And these trusses actually were something else. They were like pods for the homeless, for veterans. And the idea, this was a partnership now with SRG, with Scott Mooney. And he won a Gray Award for this, which is another big prestigious do good award for, in architecture. And they built this stage out of these trusses. But after the festival, it all got torn down and it was made into like a homeless veteran pods in Clackamas County. This was kind of like the magic that was happening through this collaboration. And again, they won another citation award in that year. In 2018, they were still in. No, we're kind of heading towards a kind of a real rhythm here. They kind of didn't even need to talk to us that much. This is something that was like just special in a way that they knew what they were going to do. And they showed up. Like, we didn't need to tell them what they needed to do on the farm. We don't leave any trace. They just had it down. And we're starting to get to the point where I'm showing up at the end and they're just like showing me a design. And it was 113, 32 foot tall wooden pinwheel columns. And they turned that into 24 shelters for homeless women. And I think in Kenton neighborhood, which is still there. In 2019, they built it at 160 wooden apple carts. COVID hit. We didn't do it in 2020. Didn't do that in 2021. In 2022, we came back, and this turned into, I think, 175 like giant electrical spools that were like thrown away by the electrical company and assembled into this elaborate neighborhood. And so now we're like building like 32 foot tall, like tripod kind of dimensional structures you can walk under in light. It was super cool. And like underneath why this kind of collaboration, if I look at it, like it kind of has two really big impacts that are kind of reverberating like last year and really even in the future. This just works because this is one of those collaborations that the students need to actually learn something and do something. You kind of are in school and you don't actually get to build things of like that people get to experience. And now they're doing something that's totally, absolutely silly, totally ridiculous. Like it doesn't make any sense except if it's a music festival, and then it's really cool. And that is what makes this work. And those students have to come every year. You got more students and they go on to get great jobs and they're hired by the best architecture firms. It's a great story. So I kind of highlight that because that's kind of how Pickathon happens. It's all of these collaborations. And in 2022, we really came up with this idea of like, okay, screw it. We're not going to build anything more. We're going to go big and everything's going to be a collaboration. And kind of long story short, we came up with the idea of neighborhoods and we built every location on site. It's kind of now starting to be a new design build collaboration. It's going to take a couple of years to kind of get it all going, but it was incredible, even in the first year last year. And I love it. So, when I hear kind of something that's really unique and special, like the WHIMZ, create something cool out of collaboration, it just makes me smile. I'm just like, of course, it's collaboration. And with that, let me welcome our guests, the WHIMZ, Sonny Ferris and Cam Spies. Hi, guys.
Hi.
Hello.
How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Great. Thank you for sharing that story. That's so cool. I didn't know a lot of that.
I know. These are just like weird backstories.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really cool.
It's awesome. I mean, I'm like so proud of them, but it's like I'm always worried that they're going to burn out, but it doesn't. We somehow figured out this rhythm, and it's cool. I have no idea what they're going to do this year, but we're like a couple weeks away from seeing something ridiculous. I know. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. It's like Christmas in June, I think is what it's like.
Love it.
So I'm curious, where did you guys grow up, and how did you guys actually first meet?
Sunny, would you like to start?
Yeah, I'll start. I grew up in Colorado, Colorado, Fort Collins.
Love it.
And I lived there. I had the same room my whole life until I moved to Portland in 2008.
For what? For school? For a job?
For school. Well, to go to PSU, which lasted for 7 seconds, and then to just kind of get out of my hometown, because it was kind of it was just sort of a thing that's like, if you don't leave now, you're going to be there forever type
Rocky
feeling.
Mountains forever.
Which I was not down with. So yeah, I kind of flew the coop. And then Cameron, when did we meet?
We met, I think the first time we met was outside of Audio Cinema, or maybe we must have known each other already, but that was the first time I feel like we broke down.
No. Yeah, no, I met you because when Radiation City was happening.
Oh, right. That was...
Maybe it was like the year that Radiation City got Best New Band
2013.
And I was in Grandparents.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah, it was like a long time ago. Which is weird because
like a PDX Pop thing.
Yeah, maybe. I'm like usually pretty good at like being like, I remember exactly when I met you and where we were and the outfits that we were both wearing. And like, but it's also just been like a long time, me and you.
It's been forever.
Yeah.
Cameron, did you grow up here? Or like, where did you grow up?
I did grow up here, yeah. And in fact, my dad is an architect, and so and he was really involved in the PSU, or he wasn't really involved, but he would go to do crits for the students there.
Oh, what's his name?
Dick Spees.
Cool. I have to ask. I'm sure.
Yeah.
It's
I'm sure he'll be excited to hear about the projects that are happening. I didn't know about that either, so that's cool.
So, Cameron, were you playing music since a kid? Like, what's your backstory on music? Like,
yeah, I mean, I definitely remember hating piano lessons when I was like in second grade, and I was like, "Fuck this!" And then I finally started playing violin in like fourth or fifth grade, and I played violin. And then I was like, "I want to be in a cool rock band, so I want to play guitar," and so I just have been doing that ever since. Not being in cool rock bands, but
did you buy your first guitar or?
I got my first guitar at Apple Music in downtown Portland, and it was this really shitty but way expensive, like granite finish Hohner guitar.
Classic.
Yeah, right.
Oh, yeah,
all-time classic. I
had like a multi-effects processor and a crate amp. It was sick.
And are you still playing violin and piano?
Definitely not. I mean, I play keyboards in the studio just to like get things down, but I wouldn't say I'm a piano player.
And WHIMZ, you're obviously playing the synths, right?
Yeah, which is fun because I never get to do that live. So.
And Sunny, what about you? Did you grow up playing instruments or?
No, I didn't. I was my parents tried to put me. I was in piano lessons also for like 15 minutes when I was I think, I don't know, second or third grade, really little. But my attention span still is kind of sometimes. But I was also just like an extremely hyperactive child. So I did every sport under the sun, and was mostly just like sports and movement and go, 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 go. I didn't, in high school got really emo and like interested in music and like realized that, like the whole culture of it. And like, I felt like being in bands was really cool. And I had a crush on this guy, Justin, that played drums. And I was like, that's so cool. And like, and was listening to terrible like mallcore screamo and thinking that I was so metal and stuff. And so I like, would plunk around on guitars a little bit, but like, I didn't really start learning about music and like investing myself in music and playing with other people actually until 2012 when I joined Grandpa's.
Oh, yeah. And grandparents actually played Pickathon. I don't know.
Yeah. What year was that? Was that 2015?
It was early. So it was.
I think it was 2015 or 16. I can't remember.
I can't remember. Was it? You had a song with Scooby Doo. What was the name of that song? What would Scooby Doo do?
No,
what was it?
we didn't.
You played the slab. Do you remember the song you played on the slab?
Yeah, we played the slab. We played a song.
It was incredible.
We played one called Germans. I remember that.
I'll have to go back.
This is like in my
way back memory.
It's like, I mean, there's just been so many songs to come and go. That just like feels like another life ago.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't even, it's so weird. I mean, I know that it's me and it's my life. And I've watched those videos a few times. I'm like, this is so cute and like weird. And I had no idea what I was doing. But
it was a great band. You guys had kind of a raw energy force that really came out of that.
Yeah, I was a little baby when we did that. But
actually, there's a funny intersection of, I think you in 2009 were like actually one of our producers, Tanner McCullough, actually, you guys crossed paths. You probably don't remember, but he lived with a guy named Sam Newsom. Do you remember? In Selwood.
Oh my God, yeah. He was my friend at the dorms at PSU, and we had this really cute little project. I guess I did kind of like fuck around with music. I was just singing with him though. I used to sing with him.
Yeah, and so it was at his house. Like he knew you from like way back, and like Selwood in 2009.
That's so funny. Yeah, Sam Newsom. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
And so, Cam, like when you what bands kind of like started for you? What was your first like major kind of band?
I was living in San Francisco out of college, and I had no idea about like booking shows or doing any of that shit. I was like, can I even do that? Like, how does that work? Or my songs probably aren't good enough. I don't know. And so I just like was at an Irish pub once, and like there was music happening. I was like, oh, I'd talk to the bartender, and then just started playing shows.
Irish music on a granite guitar or like electric guitar.
I think I had bought
just shredding,
just going to town. I think I had bought a new guitar at Guitar Center because I didn't know any better, and I was just like just trying shit out. My coworker and I, he was a drummer, and I was like, oh, we should be in a band together then. And I'd never heard him play. We like rented a practice space before like ever playing a single note together, and it was like in hindsight the dumbest shit ever, but it ended up working out pretty good. And that was my first band. That was called Raised by Robots, which is absurd.
Oh my God.
Yes,
it's all the songs response. All the songs are on Spotify, I'm sure.
Yeah, they actually are. It's kind of embarrassing.
Raised by Robots, everyone.
No. Why did I say anything? And then I moved up to Portland, and I had my own project, which was called Speezus Christ. And then my girlfriend at the time, her band was called Soap Collectors. We were playing in each other's bands, and then we started Radiation City.
That's like an awesome band.
Thank you very much. Yeah, that was our third, like our hobby project. And then that one just was like, oh shit, this is the one we need to pursue. So then that band broke up in 2016, and I was like, what do I do? And actually, like months later, Sonny was like, will you help me record this album? I got these songs and like this new band and everything. And I was like, fuck yeah, let's go. And that was the first Blackwater Holy Light album.
Oh, Blackwater Holy Light. When did it start? Was that 2016?
Yeah, 2016. We didn't record anything until 2017.
Yeah, that sounds right.
We kind of formed, because we like formed, I don't remember exactly the timeline. Again, it feels like a different life. But yeah, we definitely recorded in 2017 at some point. I don't really remember when that was, but
Cameron, you got into like producing, right? Were you doing that the whole time, or was that starting up in that kind of time frame? Or
I was doing a lot of it for our own projects, but not like working with clients, which was a whole other
thing,
a whole other game. And then,
but the reason, Cameron, why I hit you up is because you did the Moon by You album.
Right.
And then I was like, oh, it sounds cool. And then
we did a record.
Yeah, I was just like, maybe he'll help us with my stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm so glad you did. That was really fun.
That's awesome. And then when did you guys decide to actually collaborate? When did the WHIMZ, the kind of idea start?
I text you and like,
Yeah.
remember I text you?
Yeah, you text me. Yeah, and it was.
I was like, bro.
You're like, let's get a day in the studio. I was like, hell yeah.
I think that was like January, because it was like, January of 2021, because I moved to LA September of 21.
Right.
So.
And it was right in the thick of the pandemic. And it sucked.
Like right in the middle of it.
And we had nothing else to do.
Yeah, I mean, I just text you. Yeah, it was January of 21. Yeah, and I think I just said that. I was like, hey, do you want to book a day in the studio? Because I was obsessed with listening to the Night Heron album. I couldn't stop fucking listening to it.
Which is Cameron's other project that came after Radiation City, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which is the best thing. And so, I don't know. I just hit you up being like, let's go in the studio. And you're like, yeah, cool. And then we just like booked it and went in there. And both of us were like, so what are we doing? Like,
and so, tell me. So let me kind of set the stage of what I was thinking. Like, I was trying to describe WHIMZ. WHIMZ is like this music where, and I don't know if the names of the songs lined up with this idea. So I'm just going to give you my like uninformed opinion here.
Love it.
PM1, PM2, AM1, AM2. I was talking with my friend, John MacArthur, just about you guys. And we were it's like, I picture like driving around from like 1 a.m. to 4 a.m. when there's like nobody out and like it's kind of eerie and lights are blinking and you're just kind of like, it's a weird dreamscape kind of like environment, that.
Hell yeah.
And I was like, yeah. And I was like, what?
That's what's up.
And then I was like, oh yeah, that's probably why they, named them PM and AM, because they're just going into the, and I don't even have any idea if that's true, but like, that's what we, like, we're like making sense out of this. Like it, that's the music you guys created in this, which it seems like this happy accident kind of collaboration where you guys decided to like, let's just go do something. We're bored, right? Is that correct? Like, but you had an idea.
Well, and because Sunny had heard the Night Heron record and she was like, let's make something sexy but doomy. That's my Sunny voice. Sexy but doomy.
You did.
And I was
totally.
Like, oh, that sounds good. And so we just like that was our prompt essentially going into it. But it's funny that you say that because it very much, when we started to like actually pull the album together, it felt like this narrative that happens like after dusk, but then like kind of continues into the early twilight or whatever, or the early morning.
Yeah, you guys killed it.
I'll give all the credit to John MacArthur, one of my big collaborators of this. He picked it out. Yeah, it's so cool. Like, and so did you expect, when did you expect this to kind of be anything, or is it just kind of like fun and you're going to put it out?
No, not at all. No, we didn't even expect to like make more than a song. Like the first time we went into the studio, because I hit up Cameron. I'm like, let's book a day. Cool, booked a day. And then actually he was like, do you have any ideas at all? Or like, should we just kind of figure it out when we get there? And I was like, well, I think I have like a verse, which was that.
You had that little video.
I sent you a video. But I was I sent him a video of this verse that I wrote and just me playing like acoustic. And then he's like, okay, cool, let's work with this. And then when we went into the studio, that's what we kind of started building off of, which like totally changed, like the rhythm changed and all this shit changed, but we just had like 13 seconds of an idea. But then that first day that we went in, we ended up recording what is now PM1 and PM2 as one big chunk of a song. So it was like we like went in to record a song and then we're like, oops, it's 14 minutes. Now we have to let's like make it two songs. And then we're like, well, fuck this. Now I guess we need to make an EP. So then we're like, okay, well, let's book some more time. And now we're making an album. Like it was totally just like, what?
Yeah. I mean, it's cool. Like I got this from a friend. Kind of, we just like get endless amount of music from everyone, all sources. Somewhere in October, a friend of mine, Thomas Percival, just texts me an album. So we get all that all the time. We just add it to the pile. Like we got 1,000 records of things came out. I was just, sometimes randomly listening to it. And there's just something really unique about the collaboration that you guys, the slow drumming, which is a drum machine, but I know when you do it live.
It's both.
Yes. Is it live?
It was both on the recording. Also, like, it was definitely, the songs were built behind drum machines, but then we would like play stuff very like piece by piece.
Who's drumming?
Well, I drummed on the record, but yeah. I guess I'm the drummer.
You are an amazing slow drummer. You could play with Yob. That's actually, to me,
Hell yeah.
I love that style of space that you produced into that, and just the vocals. So Sonny, your vocals are like, it's really cool. They're like ethereal but powerful, and then the synths really build and kind of get into kind of like it's doomy, but it's almost gets into like a weird slow metal too. Like it just like it's not quite going over the line, but it has enough force to kind of be something more than pop, right? More than like doom.
Yeah.
It's kind of grinded. So it's cool. I mean, it sounds like it's like almost an improvised the whole thing, you know.
It fucking is.
Yeah, honestly, I was just going to say that the thing that was so impressive about Sonny's vocals for this record were so much of it was like laying down a very fast idea and like figuring out some chords and then just handing Sonny a 57 and being like, just try a bunch of shit and we'll loop it. And like so many cool melodies came out of just like complete spontaneity. And we're like, oh shit, that's it. Like, print it. And like we tried to recreate it later and even kind of struggled with it, but
it's cool.
But yeah, it was cool to just watch it unfold and be like, oh my god, that melody is amazing. Oh, that's even better.
Yeah, it was hard because like we would sit there and kind of like get an instrumental thingy down, and then Cameron would he'd hand me a microphone. He's like, okay, just sing stuff, and I'm like, okay.
So what is the actual significance of the name of the album? Because it's PM226. Was that what? I was trying to figure that out.
Do you want to tell the story, Cameron?
Oh, yeah. Are we telling it?
Yeah, you tell it.
I wasn't sure if we were going to keep this a secret forever, but the reason should I?
No, tell it.
Okay.
Yeah. Tell
it. The first day we were in the studio, we were just like both so full of piss. We were like peeing every like 15 minutes. And so we were like, piss machine. And then we were like going to call it PM226. And then,
because it was on February 26th.
Yeah. But then we were like,
and so we just kept on calling. Yeah. We're making jokes about piss machines, which is where PM came from.
I love this is the best. This is the best. The best. Like, you know, it always sounds like it's mystical, but it actually is a piss machine.
No, it's just piss machine.
Yeah, it's actually really
awesome.
Yeah, it's great.
Do you think, this collaboration, is it kind of a one-off? Do you have no idea, or you have plans, or what's the idea? Anything else that you guys want to do with this?
I think we're going to get back in the studio around Pickathon when Sonny's up here, actually. And just I will try to make one more song.
I know. Again, I text you like a few months or last month or whatever, and I'm like, if I'm up there, I might as well try and record a single or something. And he's like, yeah, okay. I mean, it's just kind of more of our same program.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
it's collaboration. It's really awesome, and I mean, we're really stoked to have you guys this year at the festival. And Sonny, you've been there a couple years. How many times have you played?
I have played Pickathon twice because I played with grandparents and then I played with Cat Hawk when she had a band.
Blackwater hasn't played it yet? Oh,
no.
Crazy.
No. This is
nice.
Number 3. This is awesome though. I knew that Cat Hawk was an awesome band too. But you guys
that band was fun.
You guys really did something special here, and just want to give you just lots of props for taking the chance, bringing out the piss machine, and like collaborating. PM 826. That's what in August. That's what this one's going to be.
Amazing.
And we're all going to be stoked to have you at the festival. I really thank you guys for being my guests today, and just keep it going. That's what I say.
Well, thank you so much for having us. And my phone is like just about to die, so this was perfect.
Perfect. Yeah. That's how you end a podcast, right before it dies, or right when it dies. So
yeah.
All right, thank you everyone for joining us.
Yeah, thanks. That was
We're
awesome.
Excited.
Yeah, so excited.
Yeah, this is the end of Pickathon Podcast episode 6. And we'll be back next week with Pickathon Podcast episode 7.
Yeah.
Bye.
Thank you so
You're
much.
Piss machine!
Stoked.
Piss machine!
All right, bye, y'all.
This podcast is produced by Zale Schoenborn, Tanner McCullough, and Evan Throckmorton. Our artwork is by Travis Bone, and additional support by Ryan Stiles. The music you heard in this episode was by our guest of honor, WHIMZ. The songs included were AM1, I Wanna, and the song we're riding out on right now, PM2. A big thanks to the whole Pickathon family. And like Zale said, we'll catch you all next week.